Today is Tuesday of Holy Week. I wonder how many of us can say, if we were asked what happened on Tuesday of Holy Week. To be honest, if you'd asked me a short while ago, I possibly would have struggled with the answer to that. And I think the reason we struggle with it is because Tuesday of Holy Week is not a big action day. In fact, it's a day of teaching. When we read through the story of Holy Week, we see that on Monday Jesus goes to the temple and he clears the temple. And on Tuesday he returns to the temple, and it's in this place that he teaches, that he confronts power, that he speaks truth, that he questions people, that he calls out where things are being done wrong, and he tries to help people sort out where they've misunderstood certain things. Tuesday is a day, as I say, in which Jesus confronts power. He speaks truth to power, and in doing so, he calls us to be speakers of truth. Speaking truth to power can be a really scary thing. Calling power out where others with little or no power are being harmed matters. Maybe we fall into a mindset of thinking, do you know what, it's not me causing the harm, and it would just be easier for my life if I didn't bother with it. But Jesus chooses to speak up, and so sets an example for us. But what if we're the ones in the position of power? We're the ones that need to be called out. One bit which really stood out to me in Jesus' teaching from Tuesday of Holy Week is in the passage which in some Bibles is titled the 7 Woes. And this is where Jesus 7 times says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees." And it's not the way he says woe is not so much an admonishment as a real grief for Jesus. It's a grieving of his soul at what he is seeing happening. And so in verses 23 and 24 of Matthew chapter 23, Jesus says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give 1/10 of your spices, mint, dill and cumin, but you've neglected the more important matters of the law: justice, mercy and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides, you strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel." Jesus is saying, do you know what? You're tithing your spices, which isn't in itself wrong. God calls them to tithe. But as you focus on that, and as you become pedantic about it, as you carefully measure every individual spice and focus on ensuring there's 1/10, no more and no less of it, given to God, you miss the big picture. You're missing where people are being hurt. You're missing where people are being harmed. You're missing issues of injustice. You're missing issues where you should be stepping in full of grace and mercy. You're missing being a faithful people. The leaders had forgotten about these things, about the big stuff. And I think we too can be like that. We become so focused on certain things that aren't in themselves necessarily wrong. In fact, they can be good things in and of themselves. But we get so focused on the minutiae of them that we forget the big important things. We forget that we're called to be a people of justice. The God of justice calls us to model what he does and who he is. We're called to be a people of mercy and a people of faithfulness, but yet get distracted by these small details. We miss the main point. I wonder where we see people being harmed, yet we're choosing not to speak up simply because it's easier for our lives right now to not confront power. Or maybe there's just those moments where we realise we're the ones in power and we've been distracted by the small stuff. And we're missing when others are being harmed. We're missing those moments of justice and mercy and faithfulness because we're distracted by other things.